I'm Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 328. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello, all my dear friends all over the world. How are you today? I have something really special for you today, and it's different because I don't think this podcast is going to be for everyone, but I am really focusing my attention on those of you who have really been thinking about wanting to work with me, but haven't pushed or clicked the button either to do a mini session with me, or you've done a mini session with me and you know you want to do it, but you never clicked to sign up. This is who I'm talking to today. And I'll tell you why I want to talk to you about this today. Because I had a couple of really interesting sessions with some of my clients this past week. And it just made me realize how important it is when you know what you know, that something is right for you, when you know it in your body, but you don't act on it. I want to talk to you about that today because this really is the summer of yes. Now, you remember I did a podcast not too long ago about the summer of no. But now I want to talk to you about the summer of yes, about what it's like to say yes to yourself when you know without a doubt in your body that something is right for you. So let me tell you a quick story with one of my clients that I talked to. There's a couple clients I talked to this week that really, really touched my own spirit and made me feel once again how I am just in the right place, doing exactly what I've always been supposed to do that I wasn't doing because I was a chiropractor for so long. And I'm not saying I wasn't supposed to be doing that, but I will say that in my mid 50s, which I know a lot of you are now, in my mid 50s, it's another one of those knowings. I knew that I was supposed to be doing something else, and I finally did it. And this week, with a couple of my clients, it just made me realize again about this knowing inside of you, about listening to this knowing. So, okay, I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing now. There is no doubt about it. And I want you, as you're listening to me today, I want you to go inside your own body as you're listening to this to see if you have this body sensation that I'm talking about as we talk about the possibility of working with me. So I was speaking with one of my clients this week, and one of them who I've been working with for quite a while, she said something to me that I just had to stop and just take a moment myself. And she said to me, and she said it with, she was almost crying when she said it because she just feels so grateful to have made the decision to work with me and that her life is just so much better. And we've been working for many, many months now. And what she said to me is this: Dr. Deb, since I've been working with you, I feel like my life has gone from black and white to technicolor. And I just stopped when she said it. And she went on to say, she said, I feel like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, that I stepped into Technicolor and it was my life. And I feel like Dorothy with the shoes. And when the fairy godmother said to her, you knew it all along, this is what my client was saying to me. is that she knew it. She had it in her all along. Like she didn't have to go anywhere. She didn't have to change anything in her life. She just had to see it in a different way. And that's exactly what happened to this client. And when she said that, it just really touched me. And I said, that is almost the best marketing I've ever heard to talk about coaching, to say that I can take your life from black and white to technicolor. Because really, that's just the most beautiful way to sum up what coaching is like when I'm working with anybody and somebody's mind, the perception of their mind changes. I've always said it's a miracle, the perception of the mind, the change of your mind, changing your perception is the miracle. And for her, it feels like a miracle, but really it was just coaching. And after she said that, it just made me realize one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today is about for you to realize that it's so much bigger than just your body and what you're putting in your mouth. She's not talking about just that. Even though we talked and talked and talked and did so many coaching sessions on food journaling, yet she could come back and say her life has gone from black and white to technicolor. Isn't that what you want? Wouldn't you love to feel like every day when you wake up, you're waking up and walking into a life that doesn't feel like the same one, but it is. It's just you're seeing it differently. Well, here's this other client that I want to talk to you about today. This is the main one that I wanted to talk to you about because we haven't been working very long. I would say, I think she's like on her third session and she's probably in her late 50s, maybe close to 60. I'm not even sure. I can't remember. But I know that she's in that area because we're kind of close to the same age. And she told me when we got on the phone this week, this is after the third session. She said to me, I cannot tell you how much better I feel since I've been working with you. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about her backstory because you may relate to it too. When we had our mini session, what she said to me was her major problem, she thought, was that she just overdrank, that she drank more than what she wanted to be drinking. She didn't feel like she really had that much of an eating problem. In fact, she said, I really don't eat that much, quote unquote. She said, I really just think that the drinking is what's made me overweight. And she says she's had this problem all of her life about not feeling comfortable in her body and always weighing too much. And after she started listening to my podcast, she'd been listening to my podcast for a while, maybe something like you. And she just knew when she was listening to my podcast, this is what she said. She said, I just knew that you could help me. I just knew. And when you talked to the different women and you interviewed some of your clients, they sounded just like me. She said, and I just knew. So I want to tell you with this because she said, I just knew. She didn't hire me for a while. She didn't click on a mini session for a while. She'd been listening for a while and she started having this feeling. And what she said to me on the mini session with drinking, and I want to quote her because what she said is, I don't really think that I can lose weight. I've tried so hard for so long. I really don't think I could do it. And I'm not even sure if I can change the drinking. But after listening to you, I have this feeling inside of me that I know that if anybody could help me, it would be you. So she hired me after this knowing. And what she was saying to me on this call is that she knew that I could help her. And I think that knowing and then that saying yes to herself, even though she wasn't sure she could do it, she wasn't sure. She just knew that what I was talking about and the people that I had worked with, she felt like she was similar. And so she started believing that if she would just say yes to herself with this, that it's possible that she could get what she wanted all of her life. Now, when she's talking to me on this phone this week and she gets on the phone after the third session, she starts talking about like this has already happened. She said, I cannot believe it. First of all, she was so excited because she's actually losing weight. She said, I can't believe it. I got on the scale and I'm actually losing weight. I didn't even think I could lose weight. I didn't think I was eating that much. But since I've been food journaling and writing everything down, I really realized how I wasn't paying attention to my own hunger scale. So even that in itself, where she was saying, I don't eat that much, she was eating that much. And she wasn't eating quality fuel food, is what she's saying now. But now she says, I want to make myself beautiful fuel foods. I want to. And the biggest thing is the drinking. Now, this is just in our third session. This is like in 3 weeks where she's talking like this. Like I'm telling you, a lot of people don't start talking like this till way later on. But with her, with the knowing that she had before she hired me and having this feeling inside of her, even though she really wasn't sure, she had enough confidence in my abilities and in my program that she was going to give herself that chance. And as she's talking on the phone, I said, what do you think changed the most for you already in 3 weeks? And this is what she said: I think I'm worth it. She said, I never believed in my own self worth. And we did a lot of work in the beginning about her own worthiness, about what she thought about herself. And one of the things that I noticed about her, and I'm sharing this with you because I know that you're similar. One of the things is she's been married for a long time. She has a beautiful life. It looks good on the outside. She's been married for a long time and she, quote unquote, loves her husband. But what I noticed with her a lot in the beginning is that she never talked about herself as I. She always talked about herself as we. And that's exactly, especially when it came to drinking, it was always in the context of we, because she was drinking with him a lot. And she made it sound like it wasn't an I decision, it was a we decision. And as I brought this up to her, she's told me another reason that she hired me is because she wanted to get to know herself. Like she didn't know if she knew what she wanted, that she had been living her life for so long for her family and her business that she wasn't sure about herself. And it popped up over and over again when she tried to talk about herself because she could never say I. It was always we. So, with that, in 3 weeks of getting down to the pronoun of speaking as herself as I, and what do I want? And realizing that she actually was worthy and amazing, and that she's done amazing things in her life all by herself without the help of anybody. And with the drinking, because this was a big thing for her, was the drinking almost more than the eating, which I know for a lot of you out there, sometimes it is. But I promise you, they're the same thing. In the end, they are the same thing. Now, with her, the beauty of the process that I use is I didn't tell her to stop drinking. I didn't even know if she needed to stop drinking. But this is what she said about the drinking. She says she still drinks, but she says, I drink when I want to. Now, I know that sounds strange because a lot of you think, well, I'm drinking because I want to. But she actually realized because she used we so much, a lot of times she was drinking as a couple and not as herself. And when she's just started asking herself the question, do you want to drink? Many times the answer was no, that her husband can drink without her. I know that this may or may not sound like an aha moment, but for her, this was amazing for her because she doesn't have to give up drinking. She doesn't have to give up cupcakes. What she has to do is decide, number one, if she's going to plan it. If it's a joy eat, then it's planned because she started planning this. And not only that, more than planning it for her is, does she really want it before she puts it in her mouth? More than anything else, more than planning it, it was, do I really want it? Is it going to get in the way of what I really want? And that in itself is what changed everything for her, and actually realizing that she was worth her own individualized, special attention like she had given to her children and her business and her husband her whole life. And that's where she's at after 3 weeks. Thrilled. She can't even believe it's the same life, even though it is, because she does not feel like the same person already. And it all started with her, with knowing that this was the process that she needed to do. And I was the coach that needed to work with her. And she had enough inside of her to know that she was going to say yes to herself, even with the doubt. And now when she talks to me, she said, I just knew it. That's how she talks now. She says, I just knew it. And what I said to her, and I think this is really important too, is that you really have to thank yourself for respecting that knowing that you had and following through with it. Because this knowing is really a body sensation that you'll have, a knowing inside your body. Like for me, a yes or a knowing, something that says you got to do it, it's like butterflies in my stomach when I feel it. I know it. And then my mind can come in and say, yeah, but you can't afford it. And what if you fail? And all the stuff the mind has to say, which is what happened to her. But she went with the yes, the body sensation, the knowing. And now she's like going, I am so happy I did that. And now for the rest of her life, she knows that feeling is meant to be respected and acted on. And now she realizes, because I really helped her connect, that when you know something and you say yes to it, you get it. And she did. Once she said yes, once she was all in, she did all the work that she needed to do. She opened up, she was vulnerable, and she wanted to get down to it. And within 3 weeks, wow, what a change, all from that. So if I'm talking to you and you have this knowing, like she did, that this is the process, or I am the coach that can help you, what are you waiting for? Number one, if you decide that you want to work with me, it takes a while for you to get in because I have a wait list. So if you're thinking right now as you're hearing this is, I really want to work with her, but I'm going to wait till what? Do not wait. Get that mini session in so that you can get a date to start, get this process going. And the yes and the knowing and the end result, they all go together. And it starts with respecting your own yes, your own knowing in your body. I'm not just talking about working with me, it's with anything. But specifically to this, because of what we're talking about, if you've got a yes inside of you and you've got a knowing inside of you and you have a mind that just won't leave you alone, let it go and listen to that knowing inside of you. And you're going to end up like my client is right now. She still has weeks to go and lots of work that we're going to do. But she's already gotten all of what she thought she was going to get. And there's so much more coming. So if this is something that you want to do, if you've been wanting to work with me for a while, all you have to do is go to drdebbutler.com/work with me, and you can set up a mini session. Please don't hesitate, because if you do it soon, you still probably won't be working with me for a while, probably 5, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. So now, if it's a yes for you now, do not wait. And once you pay attention to that yes and act on it, you're going to feel like a different woman already. That's almost what happened with her. As soon as she said yes and acted on it, she started changing because she knew she was going to do it. In the end, she knew it was going to work, even though she doubted that she could do it. So if this is something that you want, go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. And of course, I would never end a podcast without reminding you, no matter where else you go, no matter what else you do, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye. If you're loving my podcast and you would like some more information to be able to follow along with, then please go to drdebbutler.com deb.butler.com/change, and you can get a free copy of my companion book that goes with this podcast that I refer to in many different episodes. That is drbutler.com/change. CHANGE.